All right, team. Good morning. Happy Sunday, everybody. It is Sunday, June 8th, 2025. Good morning. Hope everyone's having a nice weekend. If you're still asleep, hope you're enjoying. When you wake up, you'll have this video ready to go to prep you for the upcoming trading week. Welcome to GAR Capital. My name is Carlos Garcia. I'm the founder and CEO of GAR Capital. We do this every week on Sundays, unless that changes, maybe a Saturday or a Monday, depending on holidays. But we recap the whole market. We recap what we're looking for, what happened, and kind of give some context. You can see scrolling at the bottom, www.gar.capital is our website. We have articles there. We have tons of other resources as well. Also access to our Discord channel, Discord server. That's where you get pretty much everything. We do have free plans as well. If you are interested, make sure to go to the website, www.gar.capital. I'll go ahead and show you. If you are new here to the channel, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And here it is. We got some more articles coming out this week. I got an article coming out. Well, we got an article coming about Uber. Got a price target there for you. I want you to take a look at that. We'll talk about that here in a second. Uber, we're going to talk about the 2007 possible analog to 2025. Scary stuff, possibly. And then we'll go over on the article's futures and options recap in terms of our signals. GAR News Network has some stuff that we posted the past 24 hours. Some good information that'll give you some edge in the market. And for those who are in the server, newsfeed, make sure to click newsfeed. All the news here that you need via Financial Juice. Rock and roll. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so as you can see, 6,000. Finally, the whole week I was waiting for S&P 6,000. We finally got there. We settled above 6,010 on S&P 500 futures. You could see this downward trend line breaking out. Wonderful. So the goal still is July all-time highs. We may get there beforehand, but I still believe in July all-time highs is the expectation. For now, what we're looking at is continuation, not chop. Worst case scenario, if we do a pullback, we're looking at 59.94 as support, 6,000. Previous resistance becomes support. So let's use that 59.95, 6,000 level as our support. I would not go long on S&P until we get above 60.20. I had a 60.20 alert for a signal on futures. We pulled back. You can see it right here. And I went ahead and changed it once we started bouncing to 60.10. And then 60.10, we went ahead and traded it and got 10 points on there. Again, that will be on the article. That was the latest futures trade that we had on Friday. So 60.21, 60.20, that's what we're looking for a continuation. The only concern I have as a trader is that we'll get a gap up on Sunday evening at 6, where we're opening at 60.30, 60.40, and then we're going to have to wait. So again, no rush. When we open futures traders, I'll meet up with you guys at 6 p.m. I'm on the road this week. Again, just had to go back and forth down to South Florida. No big deal, just a couple of days. Stuff for medical stuff. Again, purely routine. I'm fine, all good. And again, the only reason I scheduled this was for the fact that it's a slow, choppy month. In June, the first 2 weeks, like I said. So no biggie. Again, I can do this from anywhere, any hotel, anywhere. Just have a computer, Wi-Fi, and we can get this show on the road. If you're an older viewer, I have done morning notes. I have done podcasts. I have done recaps from all over the United States on my MacBook Air. So this is not a problem to me. I absolutely love it. I can even teach on the road. So I did have to adjust my schedule a little bit for some of my students. If you are a masterclass member, make sure to get with me to get your classes in. If you want to wait, that's totally cool. And if you are interested in signing up for a masterclass teaching with me directly, one-on-one teaching, I had one student who had to change his masterclass. Unfortunately, he had some family stuff come up. Best of luck to him. We went ahead and switched him back up. He's all good now. So again, I do have one slot open for those who are interested. Back to work. S&P 500 futures, like I said, 60.21. Let's talk about gold futures traders. Finally, gold pulling back. I had a GLD put for, what was it, for June 20th, but the premium was absolutely crushed and finally pulled back. So maybe get another shot at GLD masterclass traders. What do you think? I had the 290s. Yikes. Let's see if we can get below 302. on GLD. If it does pull back, then I'll go for the 300s and we'll make that back. All right, students? But for now, masterclass students, let's take a look at GC. Gold futures, we'll go ahead and put it at 33.20. If that does break, we'll go for 3,300, catch a quick 20 points. Gold owes us big time. It's been very choppy, and I hate it. But good news is that we'll always get opportunities in the market. You can see a nice breakdown of this trend line. Excellent. I've been waiting for gold to tank. Finally, it's going to at least have some semblance of doing what I expect. MGC, you can see this trend line here, support. Oh, do we get to that 20-day moving average? I sure hope so. Below 33.20, we'll target that at 3,300. That to me, I think gold might be the trade to start off our week. And we can get 20 points and rock and roll. 32.83, again, I have a level here as well as another level of support. Let's see if that 50-day comes in. That's 32.71. That has been support. Maybe we can go ahead and either close there or go long from there and play a pivot. You can see that we're still above this downward trend line. If it does retest at 33.07 and bounces, completely technically normal. But the goal is, let's see if we get below 33.20 on gold. All right. All right, let's talk some options. Yes. A couple of names that I put on the watch list this week. This is for options members. So we'll go to watches and charts. I posted it yesterday. All there, always for our members. So I'm going to go over one in particular. CSCO. Me and Masterclass are already in this trade for August. But you can see this on the monthly candles. We stretched it out over decades. My goodness, look how nice this looks. Above 66.60, which is the recent highs, 70 calls. And if we break 70, we're going to 82. Simple as that. The only concern would be that we reject right around 69.70. Let's say some people take profits like we're in calls, for example, and then it would just be back in range. 1, 2 double top. Would it be 3, or do we finally break? I think the latter. Keep an eye on CSCO. Looks really good. Let's see the call option volume out there. I did see some on Friday. Let's see how Monday looks. Let's go ahead and take a look here on earnings calendar. What stands out? Okay. Did I have my list for last week on how we did? Where Carlos was right, where Carlos was wrong. What did I predict last week? Let's see. Did I write anything down here? Here we go. I think, let's see it. Here's the earnings for this week. The only thing that stands out, I guess, if you're interested in, is GameStop, Oracle, and Adobe. Those are pretty much your three. Again, earnings is already over for the most part. Video's already done. The major guys are done. So let's take a look at GME together. But before we do that, I want to go over the last trades that we had from the last video. Not trades, but the charts we were looking at in terms of earnings. So I had NEO first, bear to $3. You see earnings? Yep, earnings did fall to 332 and then it bounced. So it's still down, downside trend line, I guess, downside action. You can see it here. Nice pop to 390, but never got there. So again, I didn't touch anything with NEO. So NEO, I had a target of $3. It got to 332. I didn't do anything there. Crowd, I had moved to all-time high, bullish to 520. You had earnings drop and then slowly and surely come back up. Let's take a look at the daily. Yeah, this is going to go. Retest of the top end of trend line. Watch CrowdStrike, guys. CrowdStrike is bullish. Absolutely. Beautiful price action. You go ahead and retest that 20-day. Yeah, Crowd is bullish. I'm watching that this week. Let me put a circle around that. Crowd. Oh, that looks great. All right, next one that we had, or I talked about last week, was Broadcom. I said target all-time highs with earnings. I had target of 250. Sweet. Did we get there? We did. We got to 265 and pulled back. So how does Broadcom look now? Let's do some lines. Well, for that, we can do this. Going to break out of this trend line. Nice. You got a couple of gaps. In terms of support or previous resistance, we just broke it. So you can see, got a little bit down. So probably just be careful. 237, that's the 20-day. It's been support since when? Really since the 22nd of April. Since then it's been right above. So let's use that as support. If we break back above 252, then obviously bullishness continues. This looks like profit taking for the most part. So 237 is what I'm looking for a little bit of a pullback on Broadcom. This could bounce, but use 255 as resistance if that's the case. So that's Broadcom for you. I don't know if I was right or wrong there. I guess technically depending on how you do it. Let's see. It says Lulu. I put neutral from last week. Below 304 is a short, above 331 a long. How did Lulu do? Yeah, below below 304 is a short. Yeah, and again, I don't know if you caught this. At the end of the day, it was at 331 and then it had a big drop. So unless you caught that short pre-earnings, I don't think that was anything that we could have done here. 251.87, that's your support level, double bottom. If that's the case, if you keep knocking on the door long enough on a downward trend line, you're going to fall. Lulu is bearish, unfortunately. Does not look good for this stock. It is right on the 100-month moving average. The last time we were there, twice we bounced off it. So 250 is last call. If you want to dip buy here, you have to use 250 as support. If you do like Lululemon. It's bounced there before, back in 22. It's bounced here again in 2024, and it bounced again in 2025. But again, if you keep knocking on the door, team, it's going to break up or down. So 250, if that breaks, we are going to short Lulu. Simple as that. Do I expect it to bounce? Down 20%, I mean, you'll probably get a little bit of short covering, sure. You could say the same thing about Tesla. We'll tell you about that in a second. But that's what I'm seeing. I'd be very careful on Lululemon. Okay. Speaking of stocks that have moved a lot, Tesla. As the world turns with the drama between the president and the CEO of Tesla. Now, whatever side you're on is up to you. My side is making money. So you can like whoever you want. I personally don't care. What I care about is profiting from this nonsense. Get me above 306.13 and it's a buy. Absolutely. Down 20%, or was it 18% at its low? Obviously, that doesn't work for Tesla. That's not going to last. This isn't a penny stock. This is a major, major part of the S&P. This is the largest EV manufacturer in the world and the most valuable auto manufacturer in the world. So with that being said, it's bouncing off the 50-day. Once you break 306.13 on Tesla, you have a gap to fill. Once that gap is filled, that's really where the battle will take place. Because once you get a drop in a stock, understand a lot of people come in a little later and ride the momentum. Me, sometimes. And then when we are done, that's when we close. And then that's usually, for example, when you do a short covering, when you're short something, puts or whatever, and you close, you have to buy. So that's kind of what we're looking for, is people taking profit, riding kind of that momentum back up, which more than likely we will. I fully expect 310 or so, maybe on Monday or Tuesday, but the gap fill at 325 is what I'm really looking for. It can still roll over. The way I see Tesla is this: get me above the 20-day. Once again, this is just a trade, but again, if we're looking at an actual buy the dip, this is just stupid. It's just going to be over with. I want to find a company. I want to find Tesla at a good price so I can hold it for the gap fill at 400. That's going to come eventually, 335. Okay, but for now, I like Tesla for a bounce here. Support right around 280. It's going to be volatile. It's going to have a high IV, but that's just the name of the game with Tesla. All right. Let me see if there was anything else on the server that I missed. Okay, let's take a look at this week's economic data. Oh, we have inflation week this week. On Wednesday, 11th, core CPI, CPI month over month and year over year. And then we also have PPI, which is the producer price index. And then, of course, the same old University of Michigan sentiment. Everyone's miserable, hates life, but yet spends, travels, and has fun. So the surveys on this University of Michigan is that the world's ending, but yet social media, everyone's living life and is rich. Whatever. I don't put much weight on those University of Michigan sentiments. Who cares? It just depends on who you ask. If you're Republican, you're loving life. If you're Democrat, you hate life. That's just kind of the binary move that we have in terms of political spectrum. You know, there really isn't any kind of blend or independence. It's just one side versus the other. With that being said, it's just kind of how it is now. Very, very polarizing world that we live in now, but it's no different than what we had decades in the past. For God's sake, America's had a civil war in the 1800s, so it's not like this is new, okay? So, take a day at a time. Remember we talked about this in April when we had that flush, everyone was panicking. We know what happens. This is just how it goes in the rodeo. Okay, so with that being said, in terms of CPI and PPI, what are we looking for? What's the expectation, right? That's kind of where the money is. We'll go to Forex Factory and take a look at some numbers. All right, so we'll go to this week. I can click my mouse. Here we go. 0.3 on a core, 0.2 on a headline, and 2.5% on a year-over-year basis. Inflation's falling. This is all cycles, guys. That's all it is. We're getting close to that 2%. Does the Fed finally cut? I still say July, but Goldman and Citibank moved theirs to September. They're bums. They don't know anything. I mean, that's their call. I say July. I think I think inflation continues to creep lower, and then the Fed has to at least do a 25 basis point cut somehow, some way, because at least the numbers are backing it up that inflation is falling. The labor market, kind of middle of the road, nothing special. We wrote an article on that. Take a look at that on our website. But other than that, guys, again, still the first 2 weeks of June, kind of a grind, kind of a slow melt. Take your time. There's no rush here. Let's see what we get. All we're doing is positioning for July at the end of the day. We'll take our monies here and there. We'll do our little trades, but this is nothing like when we're really getting some action like in April and May. June right now is still kind of a digestion period. Yes, we have been moving higher. Yes, we're above 6,000, but all of this has been expected. We've been talking about this for weeks. So kind of following the script other than Tesla. Tesla was a little different, but other than that, some choppiness here and there, a little bit of patience and all that, but that's to be expected in the summer doldrums. Okay, so take your time. We had a full week this week, no holidays or anything like that. Not tons on the earnings front. Again, we talked about, I didn't get to chart it, GME. GME I traded with Masterclass, I think a couple weeks ago, but I haven't touched it since. Let's wait for 35 if GME breaks. And the reason I'm saying GME is for the fact that it's part of the earnings this week. You can see it, GameStop. So GameStop above 35, I like it. Oracle, let's take a look at that. Oracle above 180, I think it's the call. They've been using a lot of NVIDIA GPUs I was reading. But you could see 1, 2, looks like we're setting up for a breakout. Get above 180. I like Oracle. I'll keep an eye on the options volume for you. Adobe, anything special here? Weekly, right off the 20. So it may have a little action. You got a gap to fill at 390. Ooh, anything special? Yeah, still downward trend. Well, possibly I do see something. Inverse head and shoulders, maybe. You can see left head. It still needs a little more. So maybe we get down to 383 and then we'll start kind of pushing higher. So you're really looking for right around 430. If you can get above 430, that's the gap fill. Maybe give it a little bit of room. Let's do 440. If 440 breaks that downward trend line, possibly the inverse head and shoulder setup, and then we can go from there to this big boy here at 541. Remember the last earnings they had? Drop, 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 soar, drop, drop, and soar. So 1, 2, is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 earnings reports. We had one push higher, lower, 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 higher, lower, and lower. So out of 8, 6 out of the last 8 earnings reports, Adobe has fallen. Hate to say, but with patterns, it looks like we're going to fall again. If you want to follow that kind of trend, it just seems that it's one or the other. So let's be patient, wait for 440. If that breaks, fine, but still a downward trend. So any kind of move in terms of what we're seeing now will probably be short-lived. Adobe needs some love, to say the least, at least in this instance. Take a look at the daily again. And still downward trend. Let's take a look at the monthly one more time. That's the weekly, again off the 20. Let's see if it breaks. And then the monthly, really since 2020. Look at that, since 2020, 699. 270, 3637, 351. Is that your support? Is this our support is the question. Look at that, since 2017. Do we break down at 355? I think we'll bounce. I actually think Adobe's going to bounce, to be quite honest. It's been taking a hit, really, with every earnings report, like I just said. Amazon, I got one more for you. Amazon, get me above 215. I saw some unusual activity as well. I'll show you on Discord what I've been sharing. There's one piece that I wanted to show you guys. Trade Flash. The date is closed. But Trade Flash, again, I talked about that in a video with our Discord members. Let's go to Market Watch. What I've been adding has been these action. This is from Trade Flash on TOS. So these kind of big delta trades, I'll keep an eye on, and I'll let you guys know as we go. You can see how Apple, for example, Amazon. This was on Friday. Someone sold 4,944 Amazon June 6, 212 and a half calls at 60 cents. Literally same day expiry. What did I write? That's bait. And then we go back to Amazon. I wrote Homer and the Simpsons laughing because that person got smoked. You could see 213.69 same day. And what happened? They had the 215 and a half calls. They sold calls. So they were bearish on Amazon. Whoops. We're about to break out, actually. So once you get to 215, it's night-night because that thing's going to soar. So again, even with these trade flashes, sometimes they show up and doesn't mean go ahead and fill it, do whatever. It means it's just a hint for the market. More information. That's what we want. Information is the currency. We need to know what's happening so we can make decisions. Information alone is not going to get us anywhere. We got to monetize it. We got to find somehow to make money off that. That's why here at GAR Capital, that's what we do. You can get your information anywhere. It's very easy to get a Google search, but to explain it and to make actionable decisions, to put money in your pocket, that's our brand here. 215 on Amazon. Once that breaks, oh yeah, it's on 230. Absolutely is what we're looking for. How about that cup and handle? Problem is there's a gap fill at 195. We won't worry about that right now. But for now, 215 breaks, higher we go on Amazon. I'm watching that very, very closely. Okay, looks like you guys are ready with futures, options. We got to watch this up for our members. We got some articles coming up on our website. You guys are ready to rock. Have a great rest of your weekend. Let's make it a great trading week. I know this week is going to be great. I am ready for anything. I will see you guys on Monday morning. If you are on the radio, on our Discord server. If you're not in, make sure to go to our website, scrolling at the bottom, www.gar.capital. Thank you so much for your time. Have a happy Sunday. My name is Carlos, again, CEO of GAR Capital. Glad to be with you. Have a great rest of your weekend. Cheers all.